Hello folks, and welcome back to the Over Manga Cast. That time we woke up in a podcast and had to explain manga, our heated adventures, overanalyzing manga that we find interesting. My name is Sam, and this week we're sifting through the ashes as we read Burn the House Down, written and illustrated by Moyashi Fujisawa. We read chapters 1 through 11, so stay tuned and enjoy the show. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Over Manga Cast. My name is Sam, and as always, here at the top of the show, we talk about our familiarity with the property that we read this week. This is a complete unknown to me, so I've got no prior experience. How about you, Matt?
Yeah, I actually didn't know anything about this. This was recommended by a listener. So, as always, send in your recommendations. Sometimes you will subject us to things that we otherwise wouldn't have read.
Indeed. How about you, Jay?
So my familiarity comes from, on my recommended algorithm for Netflix, I know that there was a Netflix adaptation, so that was what made me first aware, but this is my first read of the manga.
And Jacob?
Nope, never heard of it.
Well, we start off appropriately for the title with a house burning down. The main character, with her internal narration, distinctly remembering that fateful day as the house burned down, her mother prostrating herself, apologizing for her negligence causing the fire. And from that harrowing nightmare memory, awakens our main character.
Who is initially introduced to us as Shizuka Yamauchi. Keep wanting to say Yamaguchi, but
there is no G.
Yeah. She keeps saying that in the mirror, as if she's training herself to say it naturally.
Yes.
Because as she gets up and, washes her face and leans into the mirror, practicing her introduction, saying the name over and over.
Because my girl is pretending to be this other persona so that she can sneak into the house that we saw burn down at the beginning.
Yeah, I love the premise of this manga, and the way we dive right into it is great, with her establishing the false identity. And then we are also introduced to who will be our antagonist, Mitarai-san, a glamorous woman who is stopped by some passerby on her way home. She chats with them, talks about how they saw her in a magazine. They hand her a gift, and she's all bright and complimentary. And they're talking about how, it's so impressive that she's a model and a housewife. She keeps everything so clean. She's so well put together and radiant. Isn't she just amazing? And as one might expect, she walks into the house, immediately throws away the gift, complaining about how poor it is.
Exactly. These peons, these peasants, they keep on giving me this trash.
I just love that this gift is like, oh yes, we learned how to make potpourri in women's class or whatever. And then she just goes, that gift smells of poverty.
Yep. And it's at this point where our heroine arrives at the front door. But before she can even do her well-practiced introduction, she is yanked inside by Mitarai-san, scolding her for appearing as a housekeeping worker, because I'm trying to maintain a look here. I can't have them knowing I don't actually do the cleaning around here.
Pull request. And obviously there's a bit of apparent, I don't want to say miscommunication, because she immediately inquires if Shizuka was informed by her predecessor of the protocol or anything like that. I am assuming by this exchange that Mitarai-san, she outsources absolutely everything. So she hasn't vetted these companies, I'm guessing, because she assumes obviously they're from the same company or affiliated in some way. Right?
I don't think she outsources everything, because later on she makes a statement that seems to imply she does do a lot of housekeeping, just it's too much on top of the 4 other things she does.
She used to do all these things. She's capable of most of it, but because of her career, she's let a bunch of things lapse that she just needs help with.
Yeah, it's 100%. Obviously, I assume most functioning adults are capable of doing these household chores, but obviously with the
demands. I'm capable of doing these household chores.
I don't know.
I sympathize with her in that oh god, I don't have the time. My living space looks very lived in right now, and that's not cool. Can't have company right now. I feel that, but I am capable of cleaning this place.
See, Jacob, that's why you should hire some sort of housekeeping service that gives you someone who has hated you for several years. To
Yes.
live inside your
Find
home.
my nemesis and have them clean my living space.
I'm sure I have plenty of nemesis.
Gotta get a fake name going, and then because Mitarai-san leans in to examine Shizuka, and it seems like, oh no, has the mask already slipped? You have dry skin. You need to moisturize more. How old are you? 25, and you're single? Yeah. Huh. Well, what are you doing in this line of work then? Anyway, here's what I need you to do. You do not go upstairs. You clean everything down here so it doesn't look lived in anymore. I'll be back.
Oh, and before I leave, don't steal anything. Little did she know, her plan was indeed to steal everything.
Her plan was to steal literally all of the things, almost to a comical degree.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, because she immediately gets to work. Like, it's like, okay, gotta start checking it out. Gotta start cleaning. And she gets to work immediately and is constantly got a little monologue in her head like, okay, I can't enact my plan just yet. I need to win the contract. I can't steal anything. Ooh, that's a brooch under the couch. That's my mom's brooch. I'm
Mhm.
just going to steal that and hope nobody saw it. Unfortunately, somebody saw it, but we won't come back to that.
The frickin' cryptid that lives in this house.
Like, there's literally just a human body standing behind her for like one panel and then gone. And it's just like, we're gonna
I'm gonna just chalk that up to the fact that she's very devoted to her mission, that she does not have situational awareness.
I just assume every single person in this manga's universe has very like nearsighted vision. No one can see anything further than 3 feet from them.
I really like the way this.
Wait, no, she has glasses in the past. She's not wearing her glasses anymore. She is actually just blind.
Mhm. Yeah, that actually tracks.
The worst part is, I don't think that that's actually canonical. I don't think that that's actually true, but it is actually a good explanation.
I mean, though, she's trying to be in disguise, so if everyone remembers her as having glasses, like, that's probably something you'd want to immediately avoid.
That's one of the things that I really like about this, because our girl Shizuka is not a trained spy. She is a civilian with a vendetta. So her, like, having these mistakes and slip-ups both causes drama and feels very natural. Like, she doesn't have a James Bond tier awareness of people or of things around her, and the ability to just make up lies on the spot. But also,
She's clearly well practiced. She's not bad at this, but it's not something that she's like actively trained in.
Also, the friggin' horror paneling where it's like, must have been my imagination. There's nobody here. Let me just get back to cleaning. And in one of the panels, you see in the darkness of the shadows an arm.
Hand in a hoodie pocket, standing against the wall, the classic.
Oh no, there's a stranger in my house. Better hide.
That's definitely very normal and cool behavior. Something that a well-adjusted person does.
If you feel called out by the podcast right now.
If you feel called out by the podcast right now, I'm with you.
Nope. Never.
I would do that.
Despite this brief moment of terror, Shizuka did a good enough job cleaning that she has secured the contract and will have regular access to the house. And it seems that the brooch being stolen was not noticed by Mitarai-san in any case. So she returns home to her very exuberant little sister, the best girl, Yuzu. She is precious.
She is the Genki girl archetype.
Yes. Yes, she is.
My favorite panel, it comes up in the next chapter where she's eating some ice cream and Shizuka's like, you're eating sweets in the middle of the night again, but I worked so hard today. I deserve a treat.
Yes,
like,
you do.
Real.
Yes, you do, Yuzu.
now that the sisters are together, we have the emotional crux of the story, which is their mother is hospitalized, very ill and non-responsive in most cases. Not like catatonic or anything, but too weak to really get up and move around or do much. We get the backstory flashback of how she is determined to retrieve everything of her mother's that she can from that house, because on that fateful day of the fire, she saw in the crowd Mitari-san with the most evil grin on her face.
Yeah, I mean, you know, some people just identify themselves as the antagonist, and she didn't.
It's also at this point we get revealed the manga's like Kingdom Hearts level plot that all the items in the house that belong to her mom, I'm sorry, that her mom currently suffers from some type of amnesia and cannot remember, like a stress-based amnesia from the house fire that her husband divorced her afterwards, and presumably somewhere in between there it caused retrograde amnesia to just completely wipe her memory. And they've been working on piecing together, but there are just gaps that can't be filled. And the doctor said if only she had some kind of physical manifestation of a memory that would return her memory. And then she was just like, I'm going to take that super literally and grab the pieces of heart that fractured when she no longer was married and use them to forcibly restore memories.
It's a good thing the antagonist of this manga is literally a kleptomaniac.
A hoarder kleptomaniac.
Yeah, that we'll get into this, but I mean, it's easily explained. Just
if this was a magical girl manga, the plot would be equally as relevant. Like, it would just be legitimately magic rather than just heavily implied magic.
Yes, it's here where we learn that after the fire, her mother was divorced, and Mitari-san, who at that point was known as Watari, ended up marrying her father.
yeah, talk about betrayal.
Watari was a single mother of 2 boys, one of whom was in
The same class.
the same class. She had befriended Shizuka's mother, and then after the fire, essentially manifested a way to blame her for the fire, which caused the dad to divorce, and then she married the dad.
Like, when I say this lady is a kleptomaniac, she literally stole this lady's life.
She would have stolen her skin if she could get away with it.
Shizuka reveals her true name to the audience. She's now known as Murata Anzu, once Mitari Anzu, because that's the father's name.
That's really shitty, and all I can think of, there had to be something in the agreement. Just when you find out like how the Mitarai
why did her last name change?
It had to be something like to do with a custody agreement, because like, yeah, the family is well known and those are his kids. So it's, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions to be asked about the custody agreement that was maybe signed at some point. Like,
ridiculous that it would strip the children of their last name as well. But I guess when you're just that thorough of a home-wrecking husband thief.
Yeah, because honestly, at this point, like, especially when that point was brought up, I'm like, did she also cheat on him? Like, what happened?
This is absurdly fast.
But alas.
We'll get to how fast this is later on when they like really dive into it. But as we are now, mom has amnesia and daughter is stealing from her family home, I believe, right?
Yeah, they rebuilt the house.
Yeah.
So she's stealing from the pieces of her mom's memories in these items that were taken from her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She has expressly forbidden her little sister Yuzu from joining in on this caper.
A little bit of older sister must protect younger sister.
Yeah.
The excuse is that the little sister looks too much like their mother, but it's pretty obviously overprotectiveness.
Also, conveniently, the main character doesn't look anything like her mother or father.
You were adopted.
I don't know at this point.
The family
I could see that
resemblances.
twist coming, but yeah, probably not.
It is interesting that the two sisters have like very different hair colors, but
Well, yeah, I think that's
genetics
the big
is
thing
weird.
where I think that's the big thing where she inherited the father's very dark, very like generic Japanese looking hair, whereas Yuzu adopted the blonde hair of her mother's half German side.
Mhm.
That's why Anzu has the excuse of saying you look too much like mom, because it is pretty clearly an excuse to keep her little sister safe and out of the explicit criminal activity that she's currently doing.
I'm going away to commit crimes.
The 13-year-long revenge scheme. Because that fire was 13 freaking years ago. She has held on to this grudge that long and has prepared that much.
Waiting and plotting.
It's all about the long game here.
Yeah, because I mean, if she showed up like after like 2 years later, they're immediately going to know. Plus, she's a child. There's plenty of references of children's concerns being overlooked in this manga.
Since she is expressly forbidden from going to the second story, she needs to further ingratiate herself with Mitarai-san. And so Yuzu recommends using her great cooking skills, because with mom basically out of commission, Anzu ended up becoming the provider for herself and her little sister, making her a very expert cook. Mitarai asks, I'm just going to call her Anzu for simplicity's sake, but Mitarai doesn't know the true identity, of course. She asks Anzu to take out the trash, and conveniently, in the room where all the trash is, there's also a box full of shoes, including quite prominently placed her mother's old pumps.
Worn, neglected.
We get a flashback of Mitarai literally saying, "I wish I had those exact shoes." Like,
yeah,
really?
The pumps flashback is the most melodramatic, which is saying something for this manga. But like, it's literally, yes, my mother's shoes that she loved so much that she got from Italy. She would take care of them personally every single day. She would never let them fall into disrepair. And then we cut back to them in current times, and they've clearly been worn by someone who didn't give a shit about them. Like,
the fact they set up that pun of like, I want to, literally be in your shoes.
A little on the nose. What can I say?
Yes.
But she manages to swipe them and get out of the house on another successful heist. She goes to visit her mother in the hospital, who is awake at this point, and shows her the shoes, which does trigger a memory of how during her first date with the father, this cute romantic little flashback. And it looks to be this wonderful moment, a little bit of light in this tragic family. And then mom's face falls into sadness, and she says, I have this wonderful memory back, and thank you, but I still can't think of you as my daughter. Just, God, the panel
there has to be a bit of her filter that's also kind of gone away. It's just like, that's a very hurtful statement to make, and I think she kind of realizes that, but there's no easier way to say that. You're still very much a stranger to me.
The dead-eyed smile on Anzu's face, just my heart hurt. But also, that is some thorough freaking amnesia to forget your kids to that extent.
I don't know.
Very dramatic.
It is.
It is soap opera amnesia, because she has conveniently forgotten everything
surrounding the fire.
Yeah. Also, I assume she's also bedridden because of her amnesia.
I think she's independently sickly.
Yeah,
they reference it multiple times that she's always been sickly.
Like even when she was happier, she was on the frail side, and then the stress of everything that happened.
Like, it was very convenient that she happened to be married to a doctor, kind of thing.
Maybe not convenient. Like
in a different cheesy romance, was rushed to the hospital for some reason, and they met and fell in love or whatever. But yeah, the dad is a doctor. The doctor at the only hospital in town. So that's why, with basically no competition, he's so obscenely wealthy.
Yeah, that's how we know we're in like soap opera territory.
Yeah.
The only hospital for miles in this town.
This town of Tokyo. I don't think they're actually in Tokyo, but
Probably not, but
It's hard. It's hard to tell. They don't say one way or another. But we have the big oof moment of I don't even remember you as my daughters. It's hard for me to think of you that way. We continue to get reiterated that do not go upstairs. Whatever you do, you are not to go upstairs. Immediately goes upstairs.
to be fair,
Listen to
I
your
also wouldn't.
rules.
She was also told not to steal things and immediately stole things. So
I
Yeah.
make my own rules.
Well, she is here to be a criminal, so I follow the rules. But she opens one of the rooms and sees it to be just this this neat cave.
I felt seen. Oh shit, she found a room.
Covered in like
I'm
in
not
video
the
game
only
consoles.
one. Like I said, I can clean it up whenever I want.
Think of the Neats room from every anime. It's that, and then the Wraith appears behind her. Dude, homie is built like L.
I'm here for it. I am 100% here for it.
But enraged by the intrusion, she spouts off her spiel about how I'm just the housekeeper. Look, I know I'm not supposed to go up here, but I was just really curious, and this is such a nice house. I just needed to look around a little bit, and I'm really sorry. I won't do it again. Please don't tell her. I need to keep this job.
He just kind of yeets her out of the room and
Kicks some trash around. Just complete nerd rage.
and this is where we get the flashback to the two sons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because she had said some throwaway line about being proud of her boys, but if one of them is a shut-in living in the upper story who you are apparently so embarrassed by, you will not even let your housekeeper go up there.
Well, I mean, isn't this also made worse the fact that she didn't only say that she was proud of them, but she specifically said, oh yeah, one works for a company abroad and the other one is like pre-med.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's great. Neat cave.
they're like, oh yeah, I'm definitely sure he's pre-med. He's definitely in school, I guess, but maybe online.
We have some flashbacks to the childhood days when, at this point, Watari brought her kids over when she was, I guess, examining her prey to overtake her life.
As you do.
As you do, yeah. She had two sons, Kichi and Shinji. Kichi was a very bright and studious boy, very pleasant and friendly to be around.
A little bit older than the rest of them.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Shinji was this
Video game nerd.
undiagnosed ADD nerd who would only play video games. Needed to be basically ripped away from the console to go eat dinner, which real.
Feel seen.
Mm-hmm. And so obviously Shinji has not changed much in the intervening 13 years.
Mhm.
Still the shut-in, now able to be hidden away by the model mother and the doctor stepdad.
Anzu's plan now is, I know how to win him over. I'm going to give him food.
The one thing that every shut-in neat wants, a girl to just randomly show up and be like reasonably kind and interested in him.
Ooh, yes. I
And
like
she
this
goes on-
alternate universe.
And she goes on like this whole mental tirade about like, oh yeah, I know that video game playing nerd, exactly what he'd be interested in. Mhm. He wouldn't remember me because back in middle school, I was slightly overweight and wore very loose-fitting clothes.
She was a little dumpy in middle school, had glasses, plain, a like unflattering hairstyle. She does look pretty different now, so it makes, and there's no way that Mitarai would have paid attention to her since she wasn't the target of the lifesteal scheme. So
I don't think they're friends on Facebook, so it's not
Yeah.
like you've been like tracking each other's lives or anything.
No, Anzu's specifically been stalking her on Instagram.
Yes.
She offers to make him some food, which, talking to the unresponsive door, she starts walking away before he's like, I'd like a salad sandwich. Oh, sure. Or recalling what she knows of the brother's food preferences, she knows that Shinji really likes coriander, even though his brother can't stand it. So she puts some of that in the salad, leaves it out, and I love this.
The panel of him collecting the sandwiches from the door looks like shit at a sweet home. Like, what the heck is this nonsense?
She's crouched around the corner like a hunter waiting for a rabbit to fall into a box trap.
It's really dedication at this point.
But
she even makes a comment of, it feels like I'm feeding a wild animal.
Pretty much. A wild meat in its own environment.
But she goes to retrieve the dishes, notices one of the sandwiches has a single bite taken out of it, and is then left alone. She's like, wait, that's the one I put the coriander. That's Kichi?
Yes. Oh no. He was a successful brother.
He was the one everyone hoped would succeed.
He's the one who's supposed to be working at some kind of big company.
Mm-hmm.
He was the cute one.
Yes. Facts. Disappointment.
Just to complete the dramatic reveal, we have a cutaway to a boy in a college class saying that he can't go hang with the lads. He needs to go study because, well, I'm a really slow learner. I need to go over this stuff a whole bunch, even after a test. He's always got his nose in a book. He's so studious, that Shinji.
He grew up to be a hardworking young man. I'm proud of him. He understands his weaknesses. He's also
really like Shinji.
Most emotionally stable one of this family.
I was just gonna say that of this family, of both of the families, he's the only one with a good head on his shoulders. I mean, the dad might not be awful, but
he's never in the manga, so
we don't see him.
Can't know. I love Shinji so much because we get a glimpse into his daily life. One of his friends in college basically harangues him into coming to a party because I reserved too many seats, and look, I really just need some people to show up. Okay, fine. I guess I'll go to your dinner for a little bit, and then
a bunch of girls show up and like, hey, we'll go too.
Oh, hey, sounds like you got the roster all full up. Anyway, you don't need me anymore. I'm heading out.
What a dick move. What an amazingly dick move. It's just like...
And then immediately the girls are like, oh, sorry, I just realized I can't do it. Bye. Leaving this poor guy.
Save my man's Kobayashi. He is trapped in the Babe Magnet tidal forces of this kid.
But we also learned that Shinji absolutely hates the fact that his mother is projecting this inaccurate persona.
Mm-hmm.
How much he actually knows about how much of her life is a lie is hard to say, but he knows enough to not be happy about the situation.
I saw that interview you did where you were being all humble about keeping things tidy, but you're no clean freak or anything. Yeah, real cute. I know that you hired a housekeeper. I haven't seen her yet, but I know you did it. You're just putting on a facade. And I like the way the dynamic between the two is introduced, because he's trying to like stand up to her and call her out on her bullshit, but she's like, hey, shouldn't you be studying? You're real slow and have a difficulty getting hold of things. You should be focusing on that instead of criticizing me. Go away now. Sure, okay.
It's really just like her going like, hey, idiot said what? What? Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Gone for a way.
Just she's they do a great job of making her very, very hateable.
Especially considering, like, yeah, she's just a mean person.
Yes, because these are her children, her prides and joy. And all they want is like, hey, mom, you should probably navigate life a little less bitchy. Shut up.
Her immediate reaction to being called out on something is take one of her children's like things they're self-conscious about and immediately weaponize it. Like, she's not a good person.
Especially when you consider the fact that there is a legitimate argument that she could give of that show business. It's something I simply don't have time for, which is the truth. She could just tell the truth. Like her hiring the housekeeper, but saying that she does the housework herself is not her greatest sin by a long shot.
The problem is she views not doing the housekeeping, like she views that as a moral failing. That's why she's so secretive about it.
Yeah, that's why she won't admit it even to someone who already knows the truth. But like that's sort of the whole thing though, is that like she could just tell the truth in this case, but she doesn't because she's mean. She has to use the mean deflection option instead of just telling the truth to someone who already knows the truth, and there's no sacrifice to telling the truth in this case too.
Yeah.
But thankfully, because Shinji does legitimately need to spend so much time studying and has become such a hard worker, he is almost never in the house, which means that there's very little risk of him running into Anzu. So right now, she really only has to contend with Kichi, who seems to have fallen so far. And surely it won't be that difficult to persuade him. After all, he's just some shut-in need. Surely I can manipulate this.
Yes.
And
she
again,
goes back to the things from the past that she knew he was interested in.
Again, I really like the paneling here, especially whenever they're showing the dynamic between these two. The manga really likes playing with the point of view to basically make Kichi or things associated with him as massive and imposing as possible.
That only adds to his persona of just mysterious. It sinks me in deeper.
She starts reminiscing about how, back when I was a kid, I tried to learn about stargazing. It's been so many years I can't even remember the name of that one star in that one constellation. That gets a bit of a response out of him. The big red star in Orion is Betelgeuse. And it looks like, she's broken through the ice. They're making a bit of a connection. And the reason that she was learning about stargazing was because she saw that he was into it back when they were kids. And I, at this point, was eating up this sappy Josei romance nonsense.
I love my sappy Josei romances.
I loved this. This is great.
Yes.
Surely nothing will
tear them apart.
Nothing will change the dynamic of this relationship.
I love how her immediate response after this entire scene is to have an inner monologue where she goes like, yes, not all of what I said was a lie, but in my clever manipulation trial, I have to remember back when I was a child learning. I did try and study astrology for a bit, but it was so painfully boring I couldn't possibly deem it interesting. But he thinks it's interesting, so I'll pretend until I can have my revenge.
Torturing who?
Herself, mostly. I also love how, every day she comes home and reports what's happened to Yuzu because no operational security. She wants her little sister to stay out of this, but she will tell her everything that she does.
What could possibly go wrong?
Ki-chan turned into a Hikineet? Yup. What?
What a loser. Also, you really went on about how he's still kind of in shape, even though he's such a neat. Why'd you go into such detail on how his personal characteristics could be considered attractive to somebody?
Why did you mention how, despite being really slovenly, it's in such a way to still be handsome?
Why do you keep mentioning his weird not bathing neat stink as some kind of manly musk?
They never go into how he smells, okay?
She briefly mentions that I can tell you haven't taken a bath, but because this is a romance, or it's not romance, it's Josei, and they need to sell this guy on being hot, they never say that he stinks.
He is very attractive.
I'll does make it hard.
We get a bit more of a peek into Mitari's perspective on all of this, because we get a flashback from her on the day of the fire, hearing a report on the radio about how witnesses say they saw a suspicious individual leave the house, and the police are investigating the possibility of an arsonist. They gasp, and she's freaking out as she's making dinner. Kichi comes home and mentions the disaster, and she has to put on this facade of oh my god, how terrible. Yeah, they say that it was the mother's fault. Neglect. Some people, they just I guess they just can't be trusted around fire.
So anyway, did you find out if her husband, what's he's gonna do about that? Maybe he's single? What?
It's weird the way that she treats Kichi. 'Cause
Yes.
she clearly suspects that he suspects her, and so she does basically the same thing Anzu did of bringing him a meal, like kneeling in front of the door, just trying to reach out to him. I felt really uncomfortable during this
Is it that
segment.
she's just afraid that he suspects her, or is she also like doing because he's like her pride and joy as the eldest son?
And she doesn't want him to turn into a cave gremlin like he is currently doing.
Yeah, like
And will
my
ultimately do.
interpretation of that was like this is supposed to be in a lot of cultures he's the oldest son, so he's supposed to be like
You're supposed to be the successful one.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the vibe I got, was she's kind of begging him to help maintain her image that she's not a failure as a mother.
Mm-hmm.
Is kind of the vibe there.
because I feel like the dynamic would be different if it were her younger son Shinji. If Shinji continued to be the video game,
The screw up of the family.
that would be, oh, he's my second youngest. There was no helping him, but
You know what they
the
say
older
about younger
son.
siblings.
I got the impression it was both, because I think she knows that the reason why he's going the way he is because he suspects her. And so not only can he potentially throw suspicion on her, but on top of that, him being this way is also an embarrassment.
Mhm.
So everything about this situation is ruining her perfect image, which is what she cares about,
Yes.
Yeah.
which becomes clearer and clearer as the manga goes on.
But he's ignoring his mother's pleas from the other side of the door, and he is wistfully gazing at the stars, saying her false name, and it's like, oh, how romantic. Oh wait, he's Googling her name. Oh, that can't be good.
Nice.
I mean, that's not the weirdest thing we've seen. I mean, kind of like, oh, new housekeeper. She introduced herself. Who is this person?
It's definitely, that's not weird, but it is concerning when you think about the fact that it's a false identity, that, again, she's not like a super spy or anything. She hasn't done the work to make like false social media profiles or false paper trails. She just signed up for one job under a fake name.
But that's the thing. We as the reader, knowing how attentive to detail she has been and the fact that this has been like her life's dream, I don't know, she might have. She might have set up social media accounts. She obviously knows how to use social media, or at least to be able to monitor and like follow people. So who knows?
I don't think she does, because we get established she's got a friend who she constantly goes to deal with that, because she doesn't get social media.
Yeah, but I mean, like her friend, like this was something they probably would have discussed, like, hey,
Yeah.
if you're going to be using a fake name, I can create a profile for you or something.
Yeah. Also, my favorite thing about the friendship is how one-sided that is, but we'll get to that.
Yeah,
That
we'll
was
get to Claire.
brutal.
But he's continuing to try to, or she's continuing to like give him food in order to ingratiate
Tame
herself
him.
to him. In order to tame him, yes, that's how she puts it.
Tame this wild meat.
I love the second it, because this is some rom-com cutesy bullshit, which kind of throws you off of the whole spy thriller thing. Because she leaves out more food. He crouches down like an ape to like pick at it. Walks over to the railing.
Strong L energy.
Yeah, strong L energy. He goes to like look over the railing into downstairs to like see if he can spot her, and she's just behind him, and it's like, would you like seconds?
Oh god, someone should put a bell on you.
Oh, but then like his stomach growls and she giggles at how cute it was, and oh, look at them, they're connecting.
Yeah, this is going a completely weird direction. I didn't know how I felt about it. I'm just like, what? What is this timeline?
Well, because she's using him. That's
Because the instant she turns her back and her
I'm
face isn't
just
pointed
saying,
at
the
him.
way this was going and how my head was turning in this moment was literally like, yes, she was intending to use him, but if you've watched enough sappy dramas, you know they eventually develop feelings, and those drives to use each other turn into actually romantic feelings. Cheesy as hell.
my
But-
god. They've caught feelings.
Yes.
They're also step siblings.
Yes,
But,
yes they
but
are.
not in a creepy way, I guess.
It's kind of
Debatably.
creepy way.
Eh. We'll talk about that later.
Oh,
But-
God, they are step siblings.
But there is absolutely no relation, and
They
weren't-
didn't grow up together.
Yeah.
Like they've never shared a home.
In the
So-
technical sense, yes, they are. But
It's creepy, but it's not the worst possible version of this.
It's the Pornhub version of step siblings. Yes, I got you.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. We got the
Exactly.
tag, and that's the important part.
Mhm. But-
We had the main actress say, "Oh no, step bro," once, so that
Step bro, I'd really like to go into the ladies' closet and see all her fancy things.
Oh well, I guess girls do like seeing pretty dresses. Yes, that makes sense.
I suppose there's no harm in looking. Oh, really? Well, I guess she'll be back soon, and I don't want to snoop where she can see, so I'll deal with that later. And oh, look, as she's walking away, he reaches out to like tug on her apron to stop her. It's like, thank you for the food. It's like, oh, how cute. And she's got this deadpan look on her face as she's not looking at him. Like, oh yeah, it was my pleasure.
Maximum melodrama.
Indeed.
I eat it all up. It's delicious.
But she goes to meet with her Q, I suppose. Does Claire count as the Q? The
Yeah.
Kind
Kind
of.
of.
kind of.
I mean, if Q was just constantly mocked for being overweight, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it got to the point where I was like, you've gained some weight. It did not just stop there. It literally like, you need to stop eating. Oh my gosh. Are you sure you could even fit in that?
So the joke is that she is a fashion conscious person that let themselves go after high school. Is the joke, and like the character design conveys that. I'm like, okay, there is some fun. It is
But
funny
it's
how those
because
two things line up.
it would have been. I'll give it some grace. It probably was funny the first time she said it. She continued to say it. We get it. Yes.
It's how Anzu
It's the only
treats her.
joke. Yeah,
It's
it's
not
the
even
only
a joke. Is the thing. It's just sort of
Yeah.
like, I'm genuinely worried you're going to die of heart disease.
Do we have to just talk about that right now? Kind of thing.
Can you even wear these maid dresses? They're not for me. Like, yeah, I'm a cosplay creator, but I don't do the cosplay. I just make outfits for people. Anyway, you needed she hands her like a massive dossier. It's like you wanted the intel on these pieces of fashion that Mitarai was wearing in these Instagram photos.
She's your girl.
Claire is legitimately very good at this with like a social media network of people who can track down bespoke foreign pieces of clothing and jewelry in order to confirm if the stuff Mitarai is wearing was stolen. Like the freaking hive mind of
well, yeah, she's smart about it. She knows that she has her area of expertise, and if it's not something that she knows, she contacts a friend.
Mm-hmm. I'm just very impressed by Claire and her cosplay hive mind.
Well, yeah, and that's why she gets. I don't appreciate how she gets, shit on so much. I'm like, geez, calm down.
Justice for my girl.
But yeah, if you can find those earrings, they were definitely your mother's, and it might trigger another memory. There's the next missing piece of heart, because this is Kingdom Hearts / Persona 5.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, your work apron is missing a button. Let me fix that for you.
This would have been her first, red flag to what is coming. First alert.
Yeah, because when Anzu shows up for work the next day, Mitarai makes them some iced coffee and is talking about how, oh yeah, I had a housekeeper before, but she was such a gossip. I couldn't have that because it would damage my image, so I had to let her go. Oh, I see that the missing button on your apron was fixed. How did you know about... And she slaps the button down on the table like, this is yours, right?
Yeah.
I found it upstairs. And that's when Anzu remembers Kichi grabbing for her apron.
Yes. And this is another red flag because I'm just like, that dude, what's he up to?
He absolutely did that on purpose.
Yes.
My red flag was mom didn't even assume that her son was having sex with the help.
Well,
Oh
And
no,
that's-
I'm going to leave my neat son alone with the single housekeeper that
the
is
single
his age.
female housekeeper,
The
the only
attractive young
woman he
woman.
would go with the house. Oh my god!
Seems like something you might be mildly concerned about. Like,
But she does say no. I was gonna say it came up later that I guess this apparently did run through her mind at one point, but nah.
So, you know about my son then. You need to go. Wait, no, hold on. And she's like trying desperately to think of an excuse or a lie, and it's like, no, you're fired. Get out. It's like, the mission has been compromised.
and I'm here going like, man, we're in the single digits of chapters, and they've already
Yes.
ruined the game.
I'm
Wow.
just saying my love of J and K dramas, I knew this was not the end. She's gonna find a way to get back in there.
This is to introduce a hitch, but that is a pretty significant hitch. So how about we take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll see how Anzu's gonna dig herself out of this ditch. And welcome back to the show, folks, where last we left our, well, I was going to say super spy, but she's definitely not that. She had been found out about going upstairs and seeing Kichi. So Anzu has been fired from her housekeeping position, and the mission is in critical danger. I love how she returns home soaking from the rain, dejected.
From the dramatic rain that happened to be falling just for her trip home. It wasn't raining before.
Every time something bad happens,
I'm
to
just
her
saying,
mission,
can
it
we just
pours-
admit that we are in a J drama? Like that's just
Yeah.
a fact.
Yes, this is. Anzu is immediately worried, and Anzu reports that she's been fired. She completely messed up. She can't even bring herself to make dinner for her little sister. She's gonna go sulk.
Yuzu decides that you know what? I'm gonna fix this without telling my sister. I'm gonna figure something out.
She's gonna take things into her own hands, which we find out in a roundabout sort of way, because we cut back to Shinji, who continues
This
to be
guy.
continues to be completely oblivious of what a babe magnet he is. Which is greatly pissing off his friend. Poor Kobayashi has to listen to this guy, dense as a neutron star, be like, I don't know, I guess, like, yeah, she's attractive, but we're just friends. We're not really that. Dude, she's so into you. How do you not see it?
Oh,
Mom's hot. Your friends are hot. I think you're focusing on the wrong things here, Kobayashi.
are you a dating sim protagonist? What is going on?
It is revealed that he has been chatting with a girl online, and
Kind of shows that his babe magnet aspect is only with women he's not interested in, because boy, the desperation on display.
Or he just has not taken up to studying women yet.
Definitely not. He has been busy fighting his ADD in other areas.
Well, it
Yes,
also
he
doesn't
keeps-
help the fact that his mom is too absorbed with receiving, self-gratification that she never, gives him any pointers of how to tell if someone is into you.
Look,
So,
I learned everything about romantic relationships by watching my parents. What you do, women love it when you come home, become a drunken mess, and just start vomiting trauma at them. That's what my stepdad does anyway.
Oh my gosh.
But he shows Kobayashi his line, and he's like,
I'm
been
pretty
trying to-
sure it's broken.
Yes, this
My
technology is broken.
I've been sending her these messages, but she's not responding. It's like, dude, there's read receipts.
She's ghosting you.
She's seeing this, but she's not responding. No way, she'd never do something like that. It's got to be broken. Okay.
Dude, she's ghosting you. I don't know how else to tell you.
Anzu is doing some IRL stalking of Mitarai, but it's difficult because as a model, she's constantly moving around for new locations for photo shoots. Yuzu is continuing to be like, look, I can help. I really can. No, this is my mission. This is my cross to bear. I'll deal with it myself. By the way, you're skipping class. Go to school. Sure.
I just love the tension here, the irony and the tension of I literally hit jackpot and you're doing protective older sister shit. Okay.
Look, maybe if I had some sort of in with a member of the family. No.
You sure? I think one of them's really into me. Oh, you're not listening. You're monologuing to yourself. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna go see Mom. Bye. Maybe you should go visit her? No, I'm not gonna do that. You're better with that peppy energy anyway.
I'm not really into dealing with the person as they are. I'm into my weird kind of revenge fantasy.
No, Yuzu tries her best to be like constantly upbeat with huge Genki energy. But this is still like pretty painful because she brought Mom some books and magazines. That magazine has Mitarai in it. I'm not letting her see that. I don't know. It just feels it's so strange having this like hole in my memory. I feel like there's something that's blocking it, some sort of great trauma that perhaps if I understood it, I'm not going. You don't need to worry about the. I mean, it's people get divorced all the time. Is that a good thing?
Yes.
We're gonna go with yes.
Yes.
We're gonna go with yes, and we're not gonna think about it anymore.
Poor Yuzu.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird dynamic because it seems definitely that Anzu really wants their mom to remember everything, whereas Yuzu is worried more so about her mom being sad. At least at this point.
Yuzu's just like, I think Mom forgot for a reason.
Yeah.
Anzu wants retribution for a wrong, and that requires Mom to be lucid enough to basically be a witness.
Yeah, she fully expects her mom to be able to testify and clear her name and everything.
As Yuzu is heading home on the train, we get more traumatic flashbacks to childhood where, gosh, this is... They go to live with their uncle and, Mom's brother, and their aunt is... I can't blame her for being put off with the fact that you brought a sickly woman and her 2 children into this house. How long am I going to have to take care of them? She's my sister. They're my nieces. I need to do something. I understand that, but they can't even help out around the house.
Yeah, this was...
It's painful. I understand the aunt's frustration, but that...
This family was... March comes in like a lion level for me.
I don't know. There's a tier.
I don't
March
think it's
comes
that
in
bad.
March
I don't
comes
think it's
in a
nearly that
lion is number 1. This is number 3 for bad family members.
the sliding scale.
The impression I got is that it's been several months at this point, and she's at a fraying point. So it's it's not great that she's having this reaction, but it's a reaction to a bad situation, and she is trying to keep it between the two of them. So
but I mean, it's also, I feel that some of that frustration, while I agree that she's justified in that, when she says help around the house, you mean help with chores and stuff. I also feel like this is something, as their aunt, that she could have a conversation with the girls about too.
Yeah.
But she's also kind of venting her frustrations to herself. And then Anzu, really proving that she's very mentally stable, decides to take that as, I know, I'll do all the chores out of spite, and then we'll move out, and then we'll never talk to them again. And I'm like, Anzu, come on.
Yeah, that has way more March comes in like a lion energy than the aunt does, quite frankly.
She is not very good at coping with her trauma. She admires her sister's drive and commitment, but is also reasonably concerned for her. So she's like, I need to do something. And that's when we cut back to Shinji, who is being
or
dragged.
someone.
Mm-hmm. Shinji's being dragged out for a night on the town with Kobayashi when he gets a message online. Hey, long time no see. Want to meet up? And
Yes, immediately.
immediately abandons his friend and runs off to a random tea shop for this girl. Oh, hey, look, it's Yuzu. Speaking of unhealthy dynamics, God, she's dangling this boy on a line.
I love how, like, direct Yuzu is. She's just like, hey, why don't you get drunk and vent to me about all your family secrets? Like, she just says it out loud.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the fact that he also like knows who she is.
Man, I feel really bad because Shinji is so starved for positive familial connections.
Yes.
He's reaching out to this girl he was step siblings with for what seems like a very short amount of time. Like,
Mhm. Yeah.
this is like,
But what I mean is like there is manipulation, but it's not as underhanded. It's kind of like transparent manipulation where it's like they at least know each other. They know how the situation could be awkward.
It's very transparent manipulation, which somehow makes it worse that Shinji is, as Matt said, so desperately starved for positive attention that he is completely blind to it.
Yes.
Because the
This
thing is,
poor boy.
even with how blatant Yuzu is being, because Anzu, a super spy, is not. Yuzu's worse, and yet
She doesn't
Shinji
have
does
to be
not
that
seem
great.
to understand the situation. Like, she literally says to his face, hey, get drunk and vent about your family secrets to me. And he just does. Without a care in the world, realizing how obvious what's going on is.
Well,
Sounds
I
good to
mean,
me.
look how straightforward he was when he was telling their mom off, like, "Hey, you're doing bad things. This is not good."
He's a very open boy, and
Yeah.
that makes him a spy's best friend and his own worst enemy.
He's got relatively, I guess, nothing more to lose. I mean, he's really smart, very studious. You know, what could he potentially lose out of this like comparatively?
He doesn't really care about the lifestyle that they're living.
Yeah. He just wants his family back, man. This is really not it.
I love the flashback of how Yuzu and Shinji had reconnected because Yuzu got dragged out onto a group date by a friend, which that's how Shinji got there too. Oh, hey, you used to live in this town when you were young, right? Yeah, before my parents got divorced. Right, I knew I recognized you. I'm sorry, what? It's me, Shinji. Oh my god, what?
you remember how we were raised as siblings for like a weird year and a half, and then your mom divorced, and then my mom immediately remarried or married your dad? And then weirdly, your dad really didn't contact you at all?
Your dad completely went deadbeat for like a decade? You know what? I had something else. I need to leave. No, hold on. Let's chat a little bit. As he's like down in beers, and by the end, he's like a dozen beers.
He's like blackout drunk, sobbing, revealing all his family secrets to.
My mom is fake. Dad's never home. My brother's in need.
For one, I appreciate this man.
This poor boy.
He
Somebody
needs
help
a hug.
That's when
There's also a bit where he basically badgers her to add him online.
and then she starts ghosting this poor guy.
I mean, from her perspective, understandable.
Mm-hmm.
Not a part of her life she really wants to remember. Like,
I tried to just fade away, but now change of plans. Here, have a cocktail. I mean, I got really drunk last time and it was kind of embarrassing. I don't want to do that again. Oh no, this isn't that strong at all. This is a lie.
I love that. This was a lie, readers.
He was drinking beers last time and he got that bad. She's throwing him like high proof cocktails.
Make it a double.
Oh, but yeah, after this we cut to Missouri is having trouble maintaining the house now without a housekeeper again.
Mm-hmm.
People want to see inside the house for the next like article or whatever.
Yeah, they want to do like a full tour of the house, big like expose thing. And I really liked this chapter as a way of, adding more character depth to our villain because, she's like, I really need to just get the house clean. So she's going on this cleaning spree and looming over her like something out of Ajin, a black ghost, the shadow of the mother. Actually, now that I think about it, do we know Anzu and Yuzu's mom's name?
Do we know, or does the manga tell you? Because those are two very different things for me.
Does the manga tell us?
I believe it did at one point.
She must have a name because she's referred to pretty friendly in that flashback with the two of them, but I can't remember it. It's not super important.
Yeah.
Yeah, the point is she's looming over Mitsuri like a literal ghost.
Mm-hmm. And we learn that she is so image conscious that she's like, oh, thank God tomorrow is garbage day. I can just go and toss all this trash outside. Wait, if the camera crew is coming, I can't have them see the trash outside my house. Right, the storage shed I have outside of town.
Where she has rented a storage shed to keep the takeout food containers because she can't put them in the regular trash. Because the neighborhood gossips love going through their garbage, I assume.
At least she thinks so.
I mean, I assume she has cameras on her property, so this would definitely be something she would be aware of, more or less.
Do you assume that? Because if she had cameras on her property, that would really have stopped a lot of the spy nonsense.
Probably outside more than inside.
Yeah, on the outside is what I mean.
But I just love having a friggin' rented storage container that you toss trash into.
That is really thinking ahead. I'm just like, why do you need to rent an entire storage unit for your trash?
That is impressive. The levels of just bad that you are.
I thought it was such a stupid idea. And I'm just like, okay, that wouldn't work for several reasons. But literally, what happens is she pulls up to the storage unit, throws the garbage in, locks up, and then the owner of the storage lot is just like, hey, no, hold on. You've just been shoving trash in there. You can't have food in storage units. There are rats everywhere because of you.
It's leaking. It stinks. There's bugs everywhere. Get it the hell out of here.
Yeah.
And like, she doesn't have a response to this. She's just going to go like, no, it's not. But like, that's clearly not enough work. And she's like, I'll take care of it. But no, in the middle of the night.
A hero comes to save her.
The owner is like, wait a minute, don't I know you? Because it's nighttime. He doesn't quite see her features, but it's like, oh yeah, you're that. Before he can be like, you're that famous model. Who should appear? But Yamauchi Shizuka.
She picked up a part-time job at the Beef Bowl restaurant down over there.
Right next door. How about that?
At the Waffle House across the street. This is the dumbest contrived soap opera bullshit, but I love it.
This only works because it plays on two things with Watery, is that she is too stressed to really think about this, and she has a deep disdain of poor people. So she goes, yes, I did fire you from my prestigious cleaning job, but you just picked up 1 million other jobs, and one of them happened to be right here. Well, I do need this resolved, obviously, very quickly, and poor people do rash things. That makes sense.
Just the level of classicism is great.
I was poor once, too. That's why I hate the poor more than you ever could.
We get the delightful pity party of everyone always compares me to the previous wife. Woe is me.
To be fair, that pity party seems pretty deserved. Like, oh no.
Yeah.
Negating the fact she basically caused the divorce. But like,
I mean, it's also the fact that, hey, everything happened so quickly. It was bound to happen.
I stole this person's life and then wasn't good at it, and people pointed out that fact.
Yeah.
I feel so sorry for you, lady.
I took this thing that wasn't mine, and now it sucks taking care of it. I don't like this.
It's effective for what it's doing, I should point out. This isn't a flaw, this is a feature.
Yeah.
From the writer's perspective, it's an intentionally failed sympathy for the devil, because it's showing the kind of person that she is.
Mm-hmm.
She faces some hardship, and immediately it's woe is me.
Yeah, exactly.
rather than, like her previous hardship giving her a sense of empathy, it becomes you got mine.
Yeah, and like she justifies her bad actions by the bad things that happened to her. It's never I could personally grow and do for myself. No, it's I'm allowed to do whatever I want because I have suffered at some point.
And despite being this kind of mess of a person, she still somehow has the energy of like a Bond villain, because she does the whole like grab by the chin. Is this really what you think? Do you believe you can be on my level, Bond? It gets Anzu her back into the house because, Wataru has realized, I can't maintain this on my own. Despite the fact that she has breached the trust, I need somebody else. She's good at it, and she is apparently desperate enough to do anything to get the job back. I can withstand a little bit of snooping if it means that I have this
this tool to use.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and we find out at the very end of the chapter that the reason why Anzu was able to find out about that was because that was one of the secrets that Shinji spilled during his little drunken tirade.
How did you find that out? I just happened to see her at the storage lot, when I was passing by. Totally.
I don't believe you, but I am going to accept this obvious lie because it helps me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sensing a theme here.
Although, speaking of lack of visual subtlety, I do love now that Anzu has re-ingratiated herself, Watari feels like she can finally begin to live her life free of the shadow of the mother, and she's like, oh right, Yamuchi, when you're making dinner, she glances up and the vision of Anzu on the stairs in the shining light of the sun. It's like the one
as her mother.
As a huge clue. Haha.
Sorry, what was that? Nothing. Just a little lapse. I know you have a lot of problems, but I think you might need medication after a visual hallucination like that.
What, you're saying that the people in this manga aren't healthy?
Definitely
except for poor Shinji, who's being horribly manipulated?
Definitely
he
not.
consented to it.
You're not wrong, but in a way that I'm not happy about.
Yeah.
The only reason he consented is because he wasn't properly informed. That doesn't make it informed consent.
It's screwed up. It's all screwed up.
Yes, it is. But now that she's got the in, and Mitarai is willing to allow her give her more lead, basically. She's like, okay, I guess you can go upstairs. You already know about Kichi. Just, if you say anything, I will fucking ruin you. But whatever, snoop around. And snoop around she does. I love the freaking closet. It's got a chandelier in it.
Yeah, there's also like the weird kind of like bet that like, oh, well, Shinji hasn't been talking to anybody, but apparently you were dealing with him and I can't handle him. And like, if this helps remedy this problem, I guess that's worth the chance of it getting out. Like, because Shinji's behavior is not something that can keep going.
Kichi's,
yeah, sorry. Shinji's behavior also can't keep going because Shinji really needs help.
Yeah.
Anzu and Yuzu, Kichi and Shinji. I love the sibling names in this.
Yeah.
Everyone knows if you have two children, they have to have rhyming names.
I mean, that's
I
pretty
did that by
standard for like years. That's not a new thing or even just a manga specific thing. People actually do that.
I did that by mistake once in a TTRPG, and the players razzed me about it for months.
As well they should.
Proof that it happens in real life. I'm just saying.
Wait, are you saying Robert the Dwarf's daughter's name is Bobbert?
Yep, made sense.
Yep. I now that I've heard it out loud, I realize why I was wrong, but we're just gonna move on.
The ridiculously opulent closet that she immediately begins to root through to find any more of her mother's possessions. And who should come creeping up to the door, but it's Kichi. Surely this means that her kindness has brought him more out of his shell. so that they can further connect in this rom-com bullshit.
Or whatever is going on.
Mm. Yes, I didn't expect this closet to have so many things in it. Yeah, well, she's a bit of a hoarder, doesn't like throwing things away.
You mean like evidence? What?
By the way, now that you've seen Mommy's closet, do you love me now? It's 100% the vibe Kichi's giving off in this moment.
Yeah. And like he crouches down to like shift through some things. She notices an open drawer and it's like, if he stands up too quick, he's going to hit his head. I'll close that. She starts reaching over him and he activates some ultra instinct and like flails out at the movement behind him, screaming, "Don't touch me," and whacking her in the hand.
And because he's got like long, neat fingernails, he like slices her hand.
Or something.
It's like, does he have claws? Is he a werewolf? What is this?
I assume that's what happened. The manga's very unclear, and I assumed it was just J-drama nonsense of like, yes, any injury must immediately be bandaged and like cared for.
A blunt force impact from a fist causes bleeding on a palm.
Because we can't show him having grungy, overgrown fingernails because that's not Bishi, but we need her hand to be cut.
Because she can't wash the dishes is why her hand has to be cut.
Yeah.
I was concerned about a
I love how
infection.
quickly she starts abusing my hand is hurt.
He opened it up and said anything to do with like water he would help out with. And then she's like, oh, actually the next like 4 billion things all having to do with that.
Conveniently, because I've only been pretending to do the majority of this job, I've been saving all the water chores. So you're going to do all of those today. And she's just like, I was just being nice, but
I guess I'm doing this now.
I guess I'm doing the job my mom pays you to do.
Yes.
Okay, I got him doing the dishes and cleaning the bathtub. That gives me like 20 minutes. I can definitely go and root through the closet now. And she just runs up there and starts tearing it apart.
And this is where we get the plot point, TM.
Yes, the plot point flashback, where in the burned out remains of the house, she just so happened to find the security camera that they had installed and, shows it to her father. And it's like, oh, wow, I can't believe the SD card survived. We might be able to figure out what happened. And, they're watching the security footage. And I love how this camera is placed in such a way that it catches the back door, but no identifying features of anybody who goes in or out of that door.
Sam, thank you for bringing this up, because the way the security camera is positioned is terrible. Because it's positioned
should be on the opposite side.
It's positioned behind the opening door, so all it can tell you is someone opened the door at some point. I guess it can show you if someone goes up to break into the door, presumably.
Yeah. I guess it's placed for someone trying to break in, not for somebody leaving, I suppose. It's just terribly convenient for the plot point that we get. You see the corner of a dress that the mom owns, and that's the only person that messed with the door that day.
And I'm like, okay, so you knew she was in the building. And she took responsibility for the fire. So clearly, no new information is gained from this. Anzu seems to think that proves that it was the other woman, Watery, who did it. But apparently, Dad's takeaway from this is, my wife tried to kill me. Better go no contact with her and my children.
Yeah.
Yeah. We learn that, Dad had been relatively supportive after the fire. He and Mom had a good relationship. They did seem to genuinely love each other. But then once, they watch the security footage and Anzu identifies the dress as that appears in camera for like a frame as one that Mom owned, he's like, oh, and immediately goes cold shoulder and freaking leaves.
Yeah, that was what stuck out to me. And the fact that, in a sense, Anzu, I think she kind of reflects on this, but it's like the whole reason that your father like flipped like that is because you kind of put it in his mind that was mom or that was mom's. And, certainly it could be argued that he's the adult. He should think more critically, kind of as Anzu is trying to do, of being like, okay, that's not the character of my wife. I don't think she would do that. But it's just, oh, I see this is an article of clothing that she owned.
And like
Yeah.
the video is suspicious inherently, but what
Yeah.
Anzu doesn't realize at the time, she realizes it later, is that was one of Mom's dresses. She had not worn it for a very long time, and I saw a kleptomaniac who stole a bunch of her other stuff, grinning like the Cheshire cat after the house had burned down, meaning she was at the scene of the crime at the time.
Yes. And what would potentially make this worse is having it reveal that the mom gave that piece to her or loaned it to her, whatever, and then like that was not information that Anzu was privy to. So
or the kleptomaniac stole it.
Yeah. Or she stole it. But I mean, I could also see, you know, her mom being so nice, and obviously she's getting friendship bombed by this woman. And she's like, oh, I really like that cardigan, that sweater. You should totally give it. Like, I'd really like to have it, and like give it to her or something. I don't know.
And if she hadn't worn it in a while, then maybe it was actually a gift or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is also a possibility.
And conveniently, Mom is, between her sickly nature and the need to give so many reports to police and lawyers, she's too tired to hear this bit of evidence from Anzu and you know, like corroborate, I hadn't worn that in a long time or whatever. And then the amnesia hits, so here we are.
And presumably the divorce is what sets the amnesia off.
I think because the divorce happens, she's working hard to support her kids, and as she is working, she gets sickly, collapses, and that's when the amnesia happens. So it's emergent from the divorce and the subsequent stress of holding up the family.
The weird thing about the relationship with the dad that I'm going to mention right here is, like, we know Anzu, after the divorce, went to go live with her dad for an unspecified amount of time, which is useful for the spy plot to reveal some details there, but causes a whole bunch of confusion about, like, their custody arrangement. Like,
yeah.
Because presumably Yuzu has not seen her father in the 13 years.
Yes, it's been like almost 100% like cold turkey. You were just out, never to be spoken to or about again.
Which would make a lot of sense, but considering Anzu went to go stay with her dad, that doesn't lead me to believe that the dad has cut them off.
But that just kind of makes it even weirder, though. Like, if he didn't cut them off, I think there's a case to be argued for who insisted on removing the Mitarai family name, because that name means something.
Probably his family, I assume, because that's the whole thing. Is like I
understand we're in a different cultural pocket where, like, family, that would mean a lot.
I'm assuming grandma. I don't know if grandma's been introduced as a character, but like that type of character being like, oh yes, I can't have the children of the name. Children of a criminal don't belong, you know, is the kind of vibe I'm getting.
A lot of Persona 5 energy in that regard.
We did never see it coming.
Never saw it coming. But while remembering this, Anzu is tearing apart the entire closet and does manage to find that particular dress, confirming her suspicion after all these years. It was Watari Makiko that had set the fire. Unfortunately, this is the supposition of an at-the-time child 13 years later.
Unfortunately, this evidence doesn't actually prove anything. Even your weird headcanon, it doesn't prove, like...
It does not prove much. You need way more. Like, I definitely understand the drama of this as a means of, like, it confirms her bias and therefore hardens her resolve. It's perfectly suitable in that point, but for the purposes of
you're not sending her to jail with this.
And thankfully, Anzu knows that. She's like, I need more. I need to get enough that I can reasonably, like, blackmail her into a confession or have a preponderance of the evidence to give to the courts or something. Thankfully, Claire is there to prove that this this coat is like a bespoke German article that was never sold in Japan.
How about that? The sheer number of things that their mom owns that never happened to be sold in Japan.
Which makes me just think, I know it's referenced several times about like their trips to Europe and everything, but I honestly believe that like being half German, she probably had a bit of a presence in Europe already. So who
Yeah,
knows?
but not enough of a presence that her parents would ever matter for this story.
Yes.
I love rich family drama where extended family just doesn't exist. Like, sure is convenient. We only need to worry about 7 characters.
Do interact a little bit with her brother and the aunt and everything, and I think we do get to see Yuzu Anzu's grandmother a bit.
But yeah, it's very soap opera energy.
Yes. Gotta focus on the shipping and getting revenge. Stay focused.
I ship Anzu with revenge. The next step in the plan is to retrieve the SD card that Anzu hid in the hospital. We learn that the security cameras are still moronically placed.
Yeah, and we've got like the whole thing of like going outside with Kaichi, right?
Kichi, I think.
Kichi, damn it. I'll get a name right one time.
Don't worry, Matt. It's usually me who does that, so I know your pain.
But yeah, Kichi and them are outside for the first time to do some outside chores. But not for too long, because we can't let the neighbors see the horrible meat of a son.
Yeah.
Or the housekeeper. But I guess we're fine. We're fine for small amounts of time.
You could reasonably pass her presence off as like the girlfriend of one of the boys.
Makiko would freak out if her neat son was found to have some love interest and then someone did some digging and found out that was the housekeeper. Oh my gosh.
that just drop a freaking nuke.
They're on a like 3rd story balcony or something like that. So them being out there for a brief period of time, they're unlikely to get spotted, which is the whole point.
They are mindful of the fact that they can only be outside for so long.
Right.
Yeah. This is a great example of how she's not like a super spy, because she's kind of piningly staring down at the back entrance to the clinic like, I hid the SD card in there. I need to get in, but I don't have a key. I couldn't find one in all my snooping. And she happens to see a delivery man bring something in and spot where the key was hidden outside. As she's scampering back into the house to see if she can find her dad's schedule so that she knows when he's not there so she can make her daring break-in, Kichi asks, "Hey, where are you going?" And she's like, "Oh, I can trust you to finish this. Look, just don't be out here too long. You don't want anyone in the boiler room down there to notice you. I will be right back. Just let me know when you're done." And while they're in the office, he comes to confront her and he says,
"How did you know it was a boiler room?"
"So, hey, look, this has been fun and all, but let's just cut the bull. How'd you know that's a boiler room?" "I should really go get dinner ready." And he grabs her by the hand. "How did you know to say my name when I didn't eat the coriander sandwich?"
What?
Turns out when you say things with your mouth, people can hear them.
Why are you in my house, Anzu?
I loved this reveal because like I was up to this point thinking Kichi was just like
An idiot.
dumb idiot. I thought her monologuing was true. It's like, yes, I'm going to manipulate this poor neat. And I thought that would eventually bite her in like she got overconfident. But this reveal is just like, Anzu, you never knew what the fuck you were doing. You thought you could control me by being nice to me. You're not some seductress. Like, you're actually you're monologuing your plot to yourself and thinking people can't hear you. Like,
it's great.
Yeah. Much respect for my man here. He was just like,
Oh, by the way, you know that time I hit you? It was because I didn't want you to find the hidden camera that you almost found. Here's the video of you snooping.
Of you tearing apart the closet.
yeah.
And then being dramatically racked with emotion about something you found. Anyway, I know, and now you know that I know, And oh, hey, that's the front door opening. Wonder what Mom's gonna think.
We'll discuss this later.
Poor Anzu is completely shattered. Every little bit of confidence she had in this plan and how things were working out for her, gone in a moment. She is white as a sheet. She is sweating.
This is hubris.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Shizuka, I don't want you getting too stressed out. Why don't you take tomorrow off?
No, it's fine. No, seriously, take a little break. I want you to be your usual self next time.
This gives her a bonus point, a little tiny one, because she does seem to actually feel some concern of like literally you come back in and you see her like sheet white, like, oh my god, you're like,
I don't want my tool broken.
Yeah.
That's why it's a tiny point.
Very tiny point. She's like, okay, something happened. You were like, look very ill.
You look stressed.
Go home.
You look stressed. Hey, do you want to have threatening coffee where I mentioned the last time we had coffee was when I fired you? This time I'm not going to
She's going to
fire
go
you.
into therapy and literally coffee is going to be her trigger.
I love how Anzu goes into complete fight or flight mode because she returns home and she's like, Kichi found out, he knows who I am. He's actually just like really scary and he's going to tell her and everything's going to come down around our heads. And I don't want you caught up in this. So I'm just going to move into an internet cafe. If anyone asks, you haven't seen me in a year after I quit my last job and broke contact by Sis.
And here's poor Yuzu, no idea what's going on.
Yes.
What do you mean?
I feel so bad for poor Yuzu.
I don't think she even breathed between all of this. It was like an entire monologue and just like, well, hello to you too.
But yeah, then we get the threatening coffee that's not threatening this time.
The terrifying coffee. This scene is so tense because it's Watari talking about how, oh yeah, the last time we had coffee, I suppose, was pretty intense for you. Yeah, huh? And just close-ups of Anzu's freaked out face, the dribbling,
Close-ups of the coffee.
The matriculating coffee slowly filling up as if it's tension reaching ahead. And now, Shizuka-san, could you teach me how to cook?
What?
Yeah, see, I shared some photos of your cooking on Instagram and it got a lot of likes, and I got offered a cooking show at the network that I'm a part of, and it'd be really embarrassing if I didn't know what to do. So if you could like teach me, that'd be great.
I'll pay extra.
The fact she gets a cooking show.
I know, right? What lifetime cable like package does she have?
Well, she is frequently the cover model of multiple housekeeping magazines. Like, wait, hold on, what?
Housewife Monthly or whatever. Real
yeah,
Housewives of whatever ward this is.
But yeah, she doesn't bring up anything bad before she leaves. And then there's Kichi on the balcony, head resting on his hand, like the supervillain he's rapidly becoming.
Are you relieved? I didn't tell her.
Yet.
You have some use to me, so I'll keep your identity secret and you become my slave. Okay, we're getting really kinky then.
Oh yeah, and I'm here for it, man.
Not even the kinkiest this gets.
I do love the framing here because we have Kichi appearing untouchable on the second floor at the balcony, and then
literally looking down on her.
Yeah, and then Anzu down below.
You see, Jacob, he literally has the high ground, and also metaphorically has the high ground.
Yes. Symbolism.
The banister, like, having a vibe like a cage.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's in a pit.
It's so good.
It's as not subtle as it gets, because it's not trying to be.
Mm-hmm. We have a little brief vignette of Shinji and Anzu having their own coffee date. Or not Anzu, Yuzu having their own coffee date. And he's like, look, everyone in my family is so fake. Do you want to see your dad? What?
I'm going to go with no.
I'm going to go with no, because I don't understand a situation that Shinji would have the ability to put that forward that Yuzu couldn't. Like,
mm-hmm. Yeah, like
think it would just be because it's implied that they haven't been in contact like at all, like either way. Like she hasn't contacted him, he hasn't contacted her. Then out of nowhere for Yuzu to try to initiate contact, I guess.
Would be weird.
Yeah. So Shinji's offering because obviously it'd be like, I guess he's in better contact with the dad, you know.
Your guess is as good as mine.
I was like 8 when the fire/divorce happened, and it's been 13 years. I don't know.
He's been out of my life more than he's been in it. So
Other than that weird, like 3 weeks he took Anzu and didn't even mention me.
Yeah. Look, let's just stop talking about family. And this is the part that really broke my heart for poor Yuzu, because she returns home, Anzu's not there. She thinks about how I lost dad in the divorce. Mom fell sick and lost all memory of me 2 years ago, and now my big sister is gone. I am utterly alone. Just, God, this poor woman. All these people selfishly pursuing their own desires, and Yuzu's the one suffering for it.
yeah.
Yep.
At least Anzu is able to teach some simple but impressive-looking meals to Watari. It's like, this is perfect. Thank you for this. Think about what you want as a gift for a bonus. I have to go do a thing. I will be back. And that's when, God, Kichi truly becomes the
little gremlin. I love him.
He's
the villain
framed,
now.
He's not framed like a little gremlin. He is framed like a...
This is very much a sexual assault. Like,
that's not even the worst one. This chapter.
Ugh. Well, I mean, it's set up like it's going to be one thing, and then all of a sudden it turns around. Okay, you're editing my blog now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like he is a couple of stairs above her, like grabbing her by the collar, lifting her up, like, you need to obey.
I'm wrong. I misremembered.
What?
I'm thinking of the end of the chapter.
You're thinking of the other sexual assault.
I mean, the implication of him specifically calling her "you're my slave now" is just
it's done that way on purpose.
Yes. It's portraying a kink. I don't need to explain this to
you. Talking about how, now you'll come to my room. It's ready for you. What is? Yep, the laptop.
And then it's deflated by it being something seemingly stupid and mundane.
The laptop and the coding textbook. You are going to be helping run this blog. I run like a half a dozen gossip blogs. Here is my income. Holy shit. Yep, and you are going to help me do this because you are cheaper than hiring a freelancer.
Damn.
You are obligated to do this for free, or else I will expose your secret to my mother. And that is cheaper than getting paying a freelancer. Because I want enough money to not live here anymore because I hate this place.
Based. I mean, I don't appreciate his methods, but I understand.
Also, I think he wants enough money to maintain his standard of living and not live here anymore, because it seems like her impression of that paycheck is he could live somewhere else.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He just wants to be comfortable.
Yeah. He doesn't want to stop being a hiki-neat.
Yeah.
Well, I'm also saying he knows she can cook and she can clean.
Oh my God.
If only she could do a third thing. Well, I'll find out by the end of the chapter.
Oh my God.
Just so many red flags.
But Sam, you don't understand. When you're horny, all red flags just look green.
Matt, I understand that to my own suffering. Anyway, Anzu, true to her studious live the mask nature, very rapidly gets good at this whole gossip blog back-end worker thing.
Which she is like morally opposed to very strongly because she thinks this is absolutely disgusting, like immoral.
It's just a bunch
trash.
of lies.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of lies about famous people. This is obnoxious and stupid.
Oh, Anzu, yeah, really talking from your moral high horse here about the nature of lying.
But she's lying for a good cause.
Revenge?
That's why it's justified.
It's just you're just making things up for these people's personal gratification. Totally unlike me making up things for my own personal gratification. Mine has like justice in it. And yeah, and with the amount of drama blogging we do, you think they don't have a craving for justice?
Ugh.
But she's like, this is just a complete waste of time. I'm not going to do this. Then the real sexual assault happens.
Yes.
Instead of it just being implied by the framing, it's literally just that.
It's him. It's essentially just a power play, is what this is. It's just like, no, you.
Well,
you
he even says that out loud.
I am always reminded is why I do not read J dramas and K dramas with my cohorts.
Yeah, because I'm reading this going like, man, this is horrifying, and then I had to remember, wait, no, this is the point. This is the kink. This is
this is Otome. This is every guy I pick on the route. Yeah.
Being forced down onto the couch, your mouth covered with one hand, him binding your wrists with the other, then he starts stripping you.
You know what, Sam? Shut up.
And Sam, stop narrating. Some of our listeners might be driving a car and can't masturbate right now.
Not with that attitude. I did afternoon drive radio for frickin' 7 years. You think I haven't heard some stories to that effect?
And then Shinji comes home.
Yes, so Shinji comes in the nick of time and stops what could have been. Shizuka stumbles away and she's just like, yeah, I'm gonna leave now. This is, yeah, nice to meet you. Bye.
Which, the way she leaves is 100% they were just about to go at it and he came in. Like,
yeah, and I think like Shinji looks at her, he sees her like trying to fix her blouse. And he's like, what the hell did I walk into?
He's just like, yeah, my brother's getting laid. Nice. With the help.
He needs it.
Oh my god.
But she rushes out without an umbrella because, of course, right as the assault started happening, a dramatically torrential thunderstorm happened.
Yeah, surprisingly, everything got wet right after that.
But, she's running home. She has a very, very reasonable and well-justified breakdown in the middle of the sidewalk. And who should appear but Yuzu offering an umbrella. And on that tender note of sisterly love, that is where we end our reading. So that was a lot.
Yeah.
That escalated quickly.
Let's start with something simple. Let's start with favorite character. For me, I really do like the entire cast for different reasons, but Yuzu is my favorite character. Because, holy crap, someone help this poor girl. She is, for one, just very funny with, being the bright, happy Genki girl in this very serious spy thriller J-drama. But also, she somehow got like the easy route of this Metal Gear Solid game.
Yeah.
So she's able to participate in the plot while maintaining that character. And I just appreciate that. That's economical storytelling. And also, of course, I'm allowed to have a treat. I tried very hard at work today. So real. Jacob, how about you? Favorite character?
Yeah, Yuzu is definitely high up there, but I gotta go with Shinji. This poor kid, he tries so hard, and he just doesn't understand what's going on around him. He needs a hug.
Mm-hmm. He needs a hug, and
he needs a hug and some positive reinforcement. Stat
10 cc's of positive parental figures.
just issues in the broad strokes. But yeah, I mean, jokes aside, I do really like the characterization of he knows he's like it's not even that he's stupid. He just knows that he's not like particularly smart. He's like of average intelligence. So it's like, if I want to excel, I got to work really hard. And he does. And I just appreciate that about him, you know? He's got that grind set.
Let's see. Absentee bio dad, absentee stepdad, abusive mother. Yep, he's got the parental trauma hat trick. Jay, how about you? Favorite character?
You're not. It's Kichi. It's Kichi, yes. For obvious reasons. If we're going there,
we know the Otome game route.
Yes. He is also L-coded, if you're familiar with Death Note. And how much I love L. Yes.
He's very L-coded. And Matt.
Man, I really don't want to have to agree with Jay here, but I'd say Anzu, but the problem is the things I like about Anzu are how she interacts with Kichi, and I don't really like her when she's not interacting with him. So I guess, yeah, Kichi's who I like the best because he's got the personality that really, like, is an entertaining villain. I almost said Watery, but she's kind of falling apart as a villain at this point. Like, she's not actually in control.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I definitely think Watery not being much like basically everybody in this, I think except Kichi, not actually a super spy or a super villain, makes her more interesting in that regard. Because, hey, turns out when she's not trying to completely absorb a woman's life, she's just kind of an average person with too much on their plate and sort of falling apart about it.
She thinks she's the main villain, but she's not.
Favorite of these little spy missions, the different encounters. I can't lie, the brief arc where this pretended to be a Josei romance, really, I like that a lot. When Kichi was still pretending to be a worthless Hikineat and Anzu was trying to quote unquote tame him. I love that sort of shit. I don't know why. It was just very appealing to me. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, my favorite one. I gotta go with my favorite thing that happened was the whole getting her job back in the rain by helping the mom throw food out of her storage unit that she used to hold extra takeaway containers to hide the fact she's a terrible wife who can't cook. Just because that's the most soap opera nonsense, and I loved that.
You're not wrong.
Jay, how about you?
So it's a combination of what Matt said, but also the fact that the mom just happened to have stress-induced amnesia. And that not only was she trying to steal these items to, you know, take something back of being thrown out and being powerless, but to have her mom remember her previous life is just textbook soap opera. Of course, the like protagonist, like close relation has some sort of amnesia or it's some kind of terminal disease. Yes. We can't have happiness happening in here. If you are down on your luck, you are in the absolute gutter. No in between.
Utterly obliterated.
And Jacob.
I think my favorite moment was the bit on the roof where it's like, how do you know that was a boiler room? Mostly because not only is it an amazing scene that completely changes the context of Kichi as a character, but it sets up the ebb and flow that ends in the whammy moment of the actual literal on-panel sexual assault. Because like they keep doing a thing where it's like, oh boy, that's dark. Is this going where I think it's going? And then it like goes away from that, and then it goes back, and then it's something mundane and it's something harmless until it, you know, goes as far as it does. And it enhances the moment where it actually goes there to have had so many cases of, is this going where I think it's going, only for it to not. And the first bit of that was where he pins her to the wall and how did you know that was a boiler room? I know who you are. That like sets the entire that sets the part of this that I got really into in motion.
So, plot predictions going forward. Until we had the bombshell of chapters 10 and 11, I was predicting it. I was thinking it'd be a fairly predictable, like, spy romance thing of Anzu and Kichi get together, Yuzu and Shinji get together, and somehow while working at cross ends towards the same goal, they get what they want in a big mess, which would be fun. Now, though, I think since we've basically entirely shifted who the villain is, the main antagonist, I think we're less concerned about getting justice against Watari and more concerned about finding ways to put Kichi in a hole somewhere. Like, during the initial reading, I was taking screenshots of him in the gremlin mode being like, my man's as an obstacle in a stealth action game, free him? No. Now, do not free him. Jail. 1,000 years jail.
I mean, has he... I don't know.
Sam, you're way too optimistic. 100% they're going to redeem him and also let him still be aggressive and sexual because that's what the readers want.
I know.
He's a kink. I'm calling it because I also want that to happen.
Personally, my plot prediction, I have a feeling that because of the way that Anzu is approaching all of this, I have a feeling there's going to be a twist that her mom did actually start the fire and Watari is just a gleeful opportunist who was just happy about the situation that happened.
Oh my God, Jacob, I thought the exact same thing. Like, they're going to do all of this. And like, the reason Dad's been so like off to the side is because he did some further digging and realized, nope, yep, my wife did start the fire. Well, gonna just disconnect from that.
Yeah, I had inklings of that as well, because what a great twist that would be, just turning the entire premise on its head. And then I got very distracted by Kichi.
I think that's the point of Kichi's character. Well, one of the points. We know the other one. Don't we, Jay?
Yeah. Yes, we do.
And would you continue reading? 100%. This has everything that I love. It's got cheesy romance bullshit. It's got spy thriller bullshit. Like, the only thing it's missing is gonzo action scenes, and like, I can live with that. The other two are great. Matt, would you continue reading?
Yes, but not because I think it's good. I think it's cheesy in a way that's very enjoyable. And this was very easy to read. It was very loose on dialogue. It was very flowy. It's a lot of the same things I like about how Chihayafuru is. It's very easy to go through and the action is easy to follow. Chihayafuru, you have to just ignore everything to do with that card game no one cares about.
Yeah.
There's no card game. You can just ignore everything.
You can ignore everything and enjoy the madness.
But yeah, I'd continue reading.
Jacob, how about you?
I'm actually kind of somewhere between Matt and Sam, to the shock of probably nobody. Yeah, it's easy, it's light, it's dumb, fun drama. The dark swerve that it took definitely intrigued me more than anything else, because it's one of those ones where it's like, I wouldn't mind reading this again for the podcast. I'm probably not going to read it on my own, but boy, it was hard to stop where we stopped because that got dark, and I'm very interested to see where it's going to go and how far they're going to push it. Yes, obviously, we know the Otome route that this is, so like, I know it's not necessarily going to go in the directions I want or expect, but I'm certainly interested to see the journey.
And Jay, how far beyond our prescribed reading have you gone?
Shut up. I feel called out. Yes, I have. I've also started watching the Netflix adaptation. I'll even say that. I love it. This is right up my alley. I love J and K dramas. Yes. It has all of the elements. It has the intrigue. It has revenge bullshit plot. It has memory loss, love and amnesia plot. And it has some mysterious handsome man kink. Yes. That checks all the
Perfect.
boxes.
Excellent. And thank you, everybody, once again for tuning into the Over Manga Cast. As always, you can find us on all of your social medias, where we are at Over Manga Cast, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Don't stalk us there. We do not post pictures that reveal subtle hints about our devious crimes.
You can also follow us on YouTube. Unfortunately, that also lacks devious crimes because the episodes go up on a 2-week delay, so we can scrub all of those out. If you want to catch something suspicious, you can head over to overmangacast.com, which not only is everything up to date, but also has a place where you can comment. Give us recommendations for series. None of us knew about this, so we love getting recommendations for crazy soap opera nonsense.
Mm-hmm. And as always, we appreciate reviews in any and all forms. You can reach out to us over mangacast@gmail.com, or you can reach out for recommendations of those dastardly crimes you want us to do, I guess. I don't know what's going on. Speaking of which, Sam, what do we read next week?
Well, we're going back to a favorite of the podcast. We are going to be reading Golden Kamui, chapters 30 through 49.
I think also that's a listener request, but we would have done it anyway.
Yes. Those are the best kind of listener requests, when it's something that we would do.
Mm-hmm. Which is why you should request we read Dragon Ball Super.
There it is.
So read that if you're keeping up with the podcast, and we'll see you all next Thursday. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Jay, you have to say good night. Stop reading.
Jay, stop.
Why are you making me like this? Good night, everyone.